afternoon, or evening as the case may be, in your part of the world. For those of you who don't know me, I'm ZenArcher, and you're listening to a Zen Life. Today we're going to talk about a question that comes up quite often, especially when you have religious faiths coming together and interacting with one another, as well as those people who are atheists and don't believe in a supreme power at all. And I have some bad news for some of you, but we're going to give it to you the way that I see it and the way that I conduct my life. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in a Christian home. I attended church until I was 35 to 38 years old, and I was a believer. I read the King James Version of the Bible from one cover to the other at least 10 times. And there is some very, very wise words inside that book. There are also plenty of contradictions. There are stories that are just unbelievable. And yet, this is a book that is supposed to be inspired by the Word of God. Now, there are other books similar. There is the Quran and any number of other books. There are religions that don't consider themselves religions, like Buddhism. And yet, there is some higher power that human beings in general believe in. Even those people who don't believe in God. So does God exist? That is the question. Does God exist? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here to tell you, yes, God exists. God exists for the following reasons. The majority of human beings on the face of this planet believe in a supreme power, someone who judges them based on what they do, someone who sets down rules and guidelines, not only for how to conduct their everyday life, but for their morality, for their ethics, for just about everything, in order to find salvation and go to heaven, if you are a person that believes that. Or there is the Buddhist faith, who believe in karma and reincarnation, and if you do good today in your future lives, you will reap the rewards of being what is it I'm looking for? Community-minded, of being humane and human to one another. So why do I say God exists when I'm someone who doesn't believe in the King James Version of the Bible, nor do I believe in the Quran, nor am I a Buddhist? How can I say there is a God? Well, it's simple. The majority of people in this world believe in a supreme being who makes judgment over them. Because of their belief in this God, their ethics, their morals, and the rules by which they live are created and designed and planned. If you're a person who does not believe in God, you are still affected by their beliefs wherever you live. The golden rule still applies, and treating another as you would have them treat you. You recognize positive things when you see it, and most people try to do positive things. I'm a person who believes that everyone is right from their own perspective, and that the trick is to see that other person's perspective. But be that as it may, God affects your life, even if you're an atheist and you do not believe in God. He affects your life because all of the rules and all of the regulations and all of the laws that govern who you are, where you live, your daily life, how you conduct yourself at work, all of those rise out of the belief in a supreme power. Now, I believe that's just nature. It's hard for me to believe that this is some cosmic accident and that this symphony of life that we live in could just be an accident. But I consider that nature. I consider that just the way it is. I believe in the power of attraction because that's just the way it is. Did you know that there is an ant that gets a parasite in its brain that causes it to hang from the end of a leaf? That is the ultimate goal of this parasite, is to make this ant hang from the end of a leaf. The end, of course, because that is the most tender, and because that is the part of the leaf that a rabbit eats. And in doing so, he eats the ant. And the parasite, as the ant is digested by the rabbit, the parasite works its way through the rabbit's system and comes out as the rabbit pellets. And it needs that in order to go through its pupa stage, in order to fully mature again. And it's not until it's fully matured that it comes out of the rabbit. Now, it's just interesting to me that this particular ant that this rabbit eats produces a pellet that those rabbits, or that those ants, love and they live for. So they go to the rabbit pellets and they eat them. And when they do, they ingest the parasite, which works its way to their brain and causes them to hang from the end of a leaf, where a rabbit will eat it. Isn't it hard to believe that that's an accident? It's just the way that it is. So although I don't believe in a God that sits in judgment up in the clouds somewhere, and that there'll be a heaven when the roll is called up yonder, I know something holds us all together. If you want to say that nature is God, I don't have a problem with you saying that. I choose not to. And I think if we each will allow one another to make our own choices about what we believe, instead of trying to force someone to see our truths, we will all be better off. If you're someone who is Christian, you know that God created Adam and Eve. You know it from your book. God created Adam and Eve. And the one thing that God gave to Adam and Eve was the power to choose. A very individual thing between man and God, choosing. So does God exist? Certainly he does. Maybe not in the form that you've talked about, or you've heard about, or that others tell you about. But God, the controlling force over humans and mankind, certainly exists and touches your life in monumental ways and in insignificant ways every day. Just something to think about from me to you. Until next time, this is ZenArcher saying you be well.